Hello and welcome to Shep Rambles, where I am Shep and I tend to ramble about what? Anything and everything, and oh look, more Star Wars news. I try to keep this type of news limited because there's plenty of channels out there that do Star Wars news, and some of them do six news things a day, every single day. And there's a whole lot of clickbait out there, so I try to keep it limited to maybe some things that I find interesting, and this is one of them. Darth Vader rumored for Star Wars Episode 9. This is nothing new. I mean, this is dated December 29th, but it's nothing new. I've been hearing this for months, but and they even say right here, Darth Vader is once again being rumored and speculated for Star Wars 9. Following the epic Luke Skywalker rumors for Star Wars 9, now fans are speculating Darth Vader may reappear based on a cryptic tweet. I think some people think too much. Slash Film tweeted a tease in regards to concept art and the art of Star Wars. Yeah, there's separate videos out there about this. If you want some hints about Star Wars 9, you might want to revisit some of the early concept art for Force Awakens. So this is the artwork they're talking about. And I don't really think this has anything to do with Vader. Now, one thing I have noticed is that this look here is the same type of look that Anakin had in Revenge of the Sith, when he had the black hood on and he did that twist of his head and he had the twisted Sith eyes. That's what this here reminds me of. And then of course you can see like a burnt Vader mask right here. But this concept, I mean, it almost looks like the Terminator actually. Kylo Ren is supposedly supposed to be getting a new mask, and this concept art makes me think that Kylo Ren might maybe rebuild a mask that is similar to his grandfather's, the Vader. Because if you remember from episode 7, he was like practically worshiping that mask. How did he get that mask? That's what I want to know. I mean, wasn't it burned? Well, it is burned and somewhat melted, but still, it's kind of like, how did he manage to get it? Those are questions that should have been answered, like in The Last Jedi. But instead, it's like whatever open questions that we have are going to have to be crammed into episode 9 in order for them to be answered, as well as whatever's left to push the story to its conclusion. So I don't know. As I said in other videos, The Last Jedi just kind of killed it for me. I mean, I was holding out hope for it. I had watched it, a second time, thinking, I was like understanding where Rian Johnson was coming from, because he wanted to do something different. But when he started lashing back at fans, that just blew it for me. I lost respect for him. Not that I have much before, but and then when you think of The Force Awakens, and although that was enjoyable, it's just a rehash of what was already done. But then that leads into The Last Jedi, so it's just, it's like an Oreo cookie. Episode 9 might be enjoyable, episode 7's enjoyable, but then you have this center that just tastes absolutely awful. And you can Sure, you can take the cookies off from the Oreo and eat them separately, but you can't have your Oreo together. So I don't know. Anyway, getting back to this article. Fans were quick to bring up Darth Vader Force Ghost concept art. This makes no sense. And if the Sith, if Darth Vader returns, I would only accept it is if it was in a flashback. That would make sense. You bring Darth Vader as a Force Ghost. No. Vader was redeemed, turned back to Skywalker, Anakin. So, no, this Darth Vader Force Ghost, I don't find that acceptable. Unless you're trying to say that his dark side split from his light side, but then we've never seen a Sith Force Ghost. I mean, I guess it would be interesting, but it also feels like, oh, we just kind of threw that in there, in the last movie, even though it's never been established before. So, but Slash Film had tweeted out a correction. I honestly thought this was an innocent tease that people would just enjoy, but the last 24 hours have been filled with people sending me screenshots from the book, guessing. The big twist of Anakin being alive, or this isn't the big twist of Anakin being alive, the number one image I keep getting sent to me, etc. The reply is rather odd. Obviously, fans wouldn't be thinking Anakin is alive, which was pointed out in the comments. There is this picture here, which has this quote. I love that quote from A Wizard of Earthsea, the fantasy novel by Ursula K. Le Guin. I've heard of Earthsea. I think it's the same as this. When you light a candle, you also cast a shadow. That inspired me to propose for the first time that Anakin's ghost could come back. That's just a creepy look. Darth Vader has actually been rumored for Disney Star Wars movies since the get-go, with a bunch of them surrounding The Last Jedi. Well, that didn't happen. It could be possible Darth Vader was supposed to return in the J.J. Abrams version of the trilogy, as Abrams reportedly wrote out the storyline for 7, 8, and 9 prior to Rian Johnson doing what he did. You gotta love it. You know what that reminds me of? The fact that Rian Johnson just said, now I'm going to do my own thing. It reminds me of when George Lucas provided his story treatments for the sequels, and they just threw it away. Oh, we're going to do our own thing. Huh. Interesting parallel there. A batch of Star Wars The Last Jedi spoilers from 4chan that were on the money offered that Kylo is more unstable and leaves to trace Vader's life in hopes that he will meet his spirit. And I remember this, a rumor back from 2015 offered Hayden Christensen was returning for the new trilogy. I've read something about Hayden Christensen where he just got out of show business and isn't really interested in coming back anytime soon. So, I don't know. And there's some more stuff in here about Vader. Vader was also rumored to have a larger role in Rogue One than previously thought. I'm glad they didn't, because Vader would have overshadowed Rogue One. I thought his minor appearances were perfect, and of course we got that awesome scene towards the end of Rogue One, and that made up for everything. That was the most badass scene ever, like in the history of movies. And then rumor from September about Luke offers Abrams is fixing Star Wars by using flat. Like, what do you mean by fixing Star Wars? Like the sequel trilogy? Or are you gonna fix things that you think is wrong with the first 6 movies. That's what bothers me. You don't mess with the 6 movies. George Lucas created those movies. He knew what he was doing. It's his vision. It's his story. Don't go back there and mess around with it. Just saying. And then the title of episode 9 is rumored to be Son of Darkness. They must be talking about Luke. I'm kidding. Son of Darkness. Well, we know who that's about. That's about Kylo. I guess. Son of Darkness. Well, it would be male of something that's dark. Maybe Kylo had a kid. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I got for rambling for this time around. Let me know what you think about this whole Vader returning rumor. Do you think it's true? Do you think it's false? Would you like to see Vader return? Or do you think that would just overshadow the movie? If they're going to bring Vader back, bring him back properly. Don't bring him in the sequel trilogies. Bring him back in his either in his own movie or in some capacity that is about him cleansing, in between 3 and 4, where he's out there wiping out the rest of the Jedi. I know that's been touched upon in the Rebels animated series, but still, I mean, if you're gonna bring Vader back, do it like that. Or maybe something in between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, because there's a time gap there. It's another way you could bring back Vader. So I don't mind Vader coming back, but do it right. I don't think the sequel trilogy is the right thing to do. Just my opinion. Let me know your opinion. All right, well, thanks for joining me, and I will see you on the next rambling video.